What's up with all my savages out there? Thanks for tuning in to Savage Studios. Today we got a hot one. Believe that. You know, these last videos we tuned in a whole lot about inmate on inmate, this side of the fence to that side of the fence. What's this? What's that? Today we got some real expose shit I'm going to run on CDCR. For anybody who does not know what CDCR is, that is California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, although they don't really rehabilitate shit but their mouth. The GREENWALL gang. Let's just get right into it. The GREENWALL gang. This is something that was formed in 1999, you know, around the 90s coming out. And I actually at one point had a cellie who was a victim of the GREENWALL gang. And people have this weird illusion that the GREENWALL gang is actually dead, but it ain't dead. In Tehachapi State Prison, level 4 180, right now, they are more alive than they've ever been. They are doing the same things times 10, way worse than they ever did. Now, this is not something that happened back in the day that does not happen anymore. This is not something that got old and died out that doesn't happen anymore. No, this is something that is still affecting plenty of inmates, which affects plenty of families, plenty of mothers, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, and so on and so forth. GREENWALL gang. First off, they got that stupid ass name because we used to joke, we used to clown around in prison because the COs out here in California got these dookie green jumpsuits, right? Just looking like someone literally just pooped them right out, right? So they got these dookie green jumpsuits, and we call them anything from pickles to, you know, pieces of shit walking around in their little jumpsuits, you know. So they took that name and they made it GREENWALL, right? 723 GW, right? These guys' crimes, you know, these guys' crimes, because that's what they did. They was a real gang. It could be anything from fabricating documents, fabricating paperwork, smashing on inmates, cuffing up inmates, handcuffing inmates, pepper spraying them and beating them down in the hole where there ain't no cameras, where you can't get caught, where no one can blow a whistle. Ripping up the paperwork. Nurses are in on it. Wardens are in on it. Internal affairs are in on it. Some of these voiceovers I'm going to be doing on some of these articles, which I will drop the link to so you can click on it and go ahead and read the whole website. As a matter of fact, there's a whistleblower himself that wrote a book called The GREENWALL. I will be dropping the link to that book as well in this video. He wrote this book exposing. He was terrified for his life after he exposed everything that went on and he partook in. A huge, you know, pretty big dude, bald-headed, tatted up, was crying, shedding tears, wearing bulletproof vests on the streets, wondering, am I gonna get killed over this? This epidemic is everywhere through California State Prison. You may not have every CO a part of GREENWALL. In Tehachapi, they are. In Tehachapi, they're getting the Green Bay Packer G on them. They're doing the same number things. And they're linking up with inmates, right? To try to keep this like system of I supply you with phones or whatever I supply you with and you smash on whoever I need you to smash on and take care of the dirty work. However, what they are doing is torture. It's modern day torture. You know, I've been the biggest advocate that we need cameras. You know, let's not get this misconstrued. If you're an inmate, if you're a gang member or a criminal, you commit a crime, you go to prison or you go to jail, you do the time. It is what it is. I did mine. However, I will always campaign for more cameras. I feel like there should be cameras because you will see a lot of correctional officer brutality all through California because it happens every single day. Just because the GREENWALL gang honored this code of silence to the point to where they made a gang out of it, every CO has this code of silence. You'll see these rookie COs come in and they'll be rookies. So they'll kind of somewhat be kind of cool. They'll talk to you, you know, especially like if you're in the hole, they'll be like, hey man, I have one rookie CO talk to me, man, you big bro, you working out all the time, man, that's cool. A couple months later, after being tainted and talked to and schooled by the senior officers who have their little jaded ways of dealing with inmates, I saw that same rookie officer and he was a straight a-hole. You know, I got to keep it kind of clean for you too. He was an a-hole, you know. He was turned to the dark side, you know, and I didn't expect nothing from him. I didn't care. I knew it was going to happen, but the point remains, this code of silence is all the way from the warden on down. CDCR runs the most dangerous gang out there. They control and they play this big chessboard with everybody's lives. I've been myself victimized by COs plenty of times while in handcuffs, while in the condition of committing a battery on another inmate. They turned all their force and attention on me in Wasco State Prison and beat me down. All the CEOs beat me down. I've been through cracked ribbed and everything in handcuffs. This happens to so many inmates where I've seen them pepper spray bags, full cans of bags, and put it over a spit bag over an inmate's face. Corcoran Shoe, they did a lot of this. They have methods. And the best thing they like to do is strike when you're in handcuffs. So we have these modern day gladiator games going on now in the prison system where they're mingling these yards, these 50-50 yards. And it's a CO, it's a warden, it's a CDCR, you know, called chess move. You know, this chess move that they made. You know, the cellie that I had actually made the news, and they had beat him down so bad in Salinas Valley in the hole, smashed on him, right? And he didn't say shit. You couldn't say shit. You'll see in the articles that I include in this video, there was no saying anything to anyone. As an inmate, all you have in California when shit hits the fan, if you want to speak up on something and you ain't got the homies to help you or whatever the case is internal affairs. You reach out to internal affairs and they're the top of the top. They come with their cameras. Anytime you come out of the cell, they're recording you. Bam, they're recording you. Every move you make, they're recording you. At this time, internal affairs was in on it. Internal affairs was in on it. You could not even turn to internal affairs. So this cellie I had, you know, whatever happened to him. And he ended up speaking out. You know, he said something, or he wrote a 602 appeal. Not that it was any successful, because I guess, you know, during the commission, a lot of shit was broken, glasses and everything. And nothing happened, you know. They dismissed appeal, not granted, none of that shit. So one of the COs, though, who was there that night when he got his ass beat in the hole, was a female, and it scared her so bad she did not want to any longer be a part of this. So she retired. And when she retired, she moved to Mexico. And when she moved to Mexico, she started letting it out. She started filing things, filing complaints, coming back and talking about it, but she wanted to be protected by having a location in Mexico. That's how terrified she was. When the reports corroborated, when my cellie's story matched up with this lady's story and they had no knowledge of each other talking about a story, it corroborated, it hit the courts. I won't get into the super details of what exactly was offered or who was asking for what, but I will say there was demotions, there was early retirements, there was transfers. I think even a warden got demoted down. So, and the whole Greenwall thing was gone, supposedly. It's 2019. Fast forward to 2019, right? I could take you through my whole term, seeing some of the most shadiest shit you'd ever see by COs, correctional officers. I have a lot of anger built up personally towards CDCR, not towards every single aspect of the system, what have you. However, correctional officers, they get away with anything that they want to get away with. And every now and then you might have one get in trouble and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Kicking and beating on an inmate is just natural. It's second nature. Doing little things, depriving inmates of food, gladiator games, knowing full well they're going to sell two people up that are going to get into it, but they still do it. We have a problem going on in California prison system, and I'll speak on it if no one else will. And it's that no one really gives a fuck. It's that nobody really gives a fuck to look behind those walls. And the truth is, you know, you don't give a fuck either. I mean, unless you got family or you've been in the prison system, you'll never give a fuck, because you'll see it as prisoners should not have committed a crime. Now they're in prison, don't cry now. Try to see that person as somebody's son, somebody's brother. Try to envision that inmate as maybe your brother, your son, uncle, anybody you really love. Because anything could happen to anyone. You have plenty of people in prison that weren't gang members. They just committed a crime or got caught up on a crime of passion and got into it, you know, and could have killed somebody just out of a crime of passion, and they were a good person their whole fucking life, but it happened. You just never know. So you can't condemn a whole population of men doing time and say, oh, piece of shit, you deserve it. Because at the end of the day, they didn't deserve it. We deserve to do our time in prison. This is America. This isn't Brazil. This isn't Mexico. This isn't any other prison that has these super violent and really grungy and dingy rules and rights. They don't get shit. You know, they don't get nothing. They don't get food. They don't get rights. They don't get shit. This is America. This is better yet, this is California on this end. So I just feel like with all the sensitivities going on in today's climate, everybody wants to cry about this right or that right or their rights. Well, you know what? It's time. It's time people look within these walls and say, look, man, why in 2013 did these hunger strikes have to happen? People had to die and starve themselves just to get released from the SHU. You had inmates in there for 20 to 25 fucking years. Stuck. You want to say this is prison and let them do their time? That's torture. That's modern day torture. And no one changed that. No protests, nothing changed that but the inmates who laid their life on the line to hunger strike, myself included. You see, nothing is worth it. Nothing is worth it to allow negative evil to exist. So when you have correctional officers who are placed in a position of authority, we have to trust. We have no choice but to trust that they aren't going to treat us like animals. And they do. More often than not, they do. They never see us as human beings. And every once in a while, you see a CO that's laid back. He's just trying to do his 8 hours and go home. And they're, you know, they don't got a problem. Then you got the ones that are like really not trying to be super cop. You know, they come, they'll even bring you a cell phone, or if you talk to them, you know how it goes. But more often than not, you got these guys coming and becoming correctional officers, poorly trained. They're trained with some fucked up mentality to treat people bad. They're coming in with no good intentions. And I feel like you guys need to take that R off of CDCR and just go back to CDC, California Department of Corrections, because there's no rehabilitation when you got authority and the people responsible for facilitating that rehabilitation. You've got these people attacking you, aggressing you, setting you up, planting drugs on you, fabricating paperwork on people. Come on now. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what, GP, S and Y, I don't care. If I could fight, I know if I could fight for inmates' rights, that's what I'll do. For both sides of the fence, I'm not tripping. I'm not. Because I suffered the same as they suffered. I suffered the same way any inmate suffered going to the SHU, spending 23 hours of lockdown a day, hoping you get that hour. I spent plenty of time in that SHU, stuck. So many situations where rights were violated, I can't even keep count. Whether it was summertime, 115 degrees in Corcoran, and they wouldn't fix the ventilation system in the cells, and we were pretty much dying in there, to whether it was putting me in a position, knowing damn well that I had enemies on a certain yard, putting me on the yard and letting the action kick off. This ain't me crying a boo-hoo tears. This is me exposing and letting you guys know there is an active prison gang that is correctional guards that are the gangsters. In Tehachapi in 2016, 2017 in Tehachapi, look it up on the news, one of those years, you had one correctional officer go and shoot another correctional officer in the parking lot of Tehachapi State Prison behind a little, extramarital affair or whatever was going on. The CO that killed the other CO was a cool fucking CO, man. He was the one who brought, this or that, did this or that. He was one that did favors, he was never one of the ones that was an asshole. But they were all on that same tip. What was that tip? Do steroids, go pump some iron, come back with your little G tattoo, your little 723 tattoo or W's on you. We had a sergeant in there, blasted, tattoo from his neck down with the LA on his neck. Are you kidding me? So the point I'm trying to make is don't discriminate on him. Hey, he got tattoos, whatever, fine. I don't make him anything. But however, they play a game. It's a mental warfare. They know that they can kill you and make it look like a suicide, which they have done plenty times. Plenty of times. I've seen it. My own eyes, I've seen them plant and do shit and commit a homicide and call it a suicide. That's Greenwall Gang for you. Still active. 2019, still active. CDCR needs to be exposed. California State, you know, you guys need to clean it up. You guys need to start from the beginning. Go to the foundation. Start it all over again, because the way it's ran right now, there's no wonder the recidivism rate is the way it is. There's no wonder the overpopulation rate is the way it is. When I got close to paroling, they didn't want me to go home. The committees didn't want me to go home. The wardens didn't want me to go home. I fought them. I fought them in ways you won't understand. I had to fight them though. On transfers, they were literally going to bend the rules and break the fucking rules of my rights to send me places where I didn't need to be. I had to fight to come home, guys. I had to fight to come home, and I barely made it home. When that 5 years I caught for selling dope, guess what? This shit happened in 2012. December 2012, I get caught with dope. District attorney sends the memo back saying we decline to prosecute. A full year goes by after they declined, after the memo came back from the district attorney herself. I had nothing to help or give on this other event that had taken place, but they still kept trying to ask me. I shut them down. I don't know nothing. I'm sorry. This guy looks back at me and says, "You have a dope case on the table pending though, don't you?" I'm like, "No, the one you're talking about was declined by the district attorney. She refused to prosecute." He says, "Nah, man." He's like, "It's still on the table, but we couldn't make a deal. That would be wrong." As he's turning and walking away. About 5 or 6 months later, before breakfast, early as fucking shit in the morning, they tell me I got court. I almost didn't go. I almost didn't even show up. I said, fuck that. I have no business in court. I got no reason to go to court. I'm not going to court. My cellie, OG. He says, "Youngster," he's like, "just go check it out. Just go check it out, see what they're talking about." I go to court. What you think? 4 dope charges. 2 health and safety violations for heroin and trafficking crystal, and 2 enhancements. That's a max of another 8 years or so. And then 1 more charge on top of that. I won't get into what that other charge was, but them motherfuckers was not trying to let me see the light of day ever again. So I'm going to go ahead and end right here, guys. Sipping this coffee, iced coffee, because it's hot as fuck. And I just want to bring awareness, and I want to say to all the families who are victims or who have lost a family member who was in the State Department of Corrections, whether it was back in the gladiator days in Corcoran, SADF, to now. I want to apologize, and I know it's not my fault, but I want to extend my condolences, and I want to say I'm sorry, and I hear you, and I feel your pain. You know what I mean? And to the family members, or to the families that got anyone right now going through this, I also want to send my condolences, because I know the games. I'm talking to someone right now who's in a situation where they're trying to mess with their loved ones' appeal. You know, this person's behaved for over 10 years or so, or 5 or 10 years, disciplinary free, and now all of a sudden has a real chance to come home next year on an appeal, on a board date. I'm sorry, on a board date, and they're gonna ruin it. They're gonna try everything in their power to ruin it. And that's what they're doing. And my heart goes out to this person. You know who you are. At the end of the day, I'm sorry to all of you guys. I was sorry to my own mother when she had to. She came to see me one time. She was scared for her life because something had happened to me, and she found out about it. You see? Don't sleep on this, because this is a very big problem. Everyone talks about unity and raza and gangbanging. if you really active, you're going to fight to protect all your homies and what you push and what you have pride in. So if you really active, tell me, what are you doing to give back? What are you doing to help your cause or your people? What are you doing? If you ain't doing nothing, you ain't active. Period. If you active, you'll be giving back and you'll be helping. Period. This right here, you trying to win the Oscars, you trying to get a Grammys, you trying to get some kind of award, this ain't no act. Don't act. If you active, give back. I ain't active, but I'ma still give back. Because I know what it felt like. I know the suffering. I know what it is. I don't gotta sit here and get all screaming at the camera and flexing on the camera and talk about, yeah, GP. Nah, homie. Give back. Give back. If you don't give back, you ain't gonna get back from your people or your cause. That's the end of the story. Like I said, GREENWALL gang. I'm gonna drop this link to them, and I'm gonna drop that book. Screw the GREENWALL gang. Screw all you COs that's hurting inmates, taking advantage of inmates, messing with their mail, messing with their visits, all the games you play, exposing you. Let's go, baby. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that subscribe bell so that way anytime I drop another video like this or anywhere, any type of video, you'll get the notification. And go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know if you've ever experienced anything about this or what you think about this. Until the next time, stay up, stay safe, but better yet, stay aware. Stay aware. Stay aware. Because they don't want you to know what happens behind them walls. Doses.